Follow the queen, live your dream, but don't sleep. Don't sleep, because she might disappear. Saw that? It's lit, right? Yeah. She came back, though. She likes you. All right, let's hit it. And we're following the queen. And we're following the queen. She at? Where that bitch at? Where she at? Want to call a lifeline on that one? All right, that one is mine. Come on. There's no hard feelings. Yeah. And you're a real one, you know? You know what I mean? Yeah, come back anytime.
But why is it that the way she speaks on SNL isn't the way she speaks in Ocean's 8? Okay? Why does she get paid to behave in this New York way, right? Whatever that means. Welcome back, y'all. It is Bianca Woke Up Late, and today I have another video for you guys. So, in the recent news, it has been brought up again that Awkwafina is doing a blaccent, and it's been very controversial. This has been going on for like the past 6-7 months, and it's been getting pretty crazy. But then recently, Andrew Schultz and Abram Preach sat down and they had discussion about it. I watched that video. I do like all their takes on different things, and I don't always agree with them, and this is one of those times where I'm kind of on the fence. So let's break down the things that they're saying and the discussion that they're having, and let's just get right into it.
So like Awkwafina is this actress, you've seen her in Shang-Chi and a bunch of other movies, Crazy Rich Asians, and she keeps on getting criticized for using a blaccent. She's an Asian actress. She's half Korean, half Chinese. Friend of mine, we did, back in the day, Girl Code, I think it was together. But, and she just keeps on getting criticized for using this blaccent. And, well, first of all, what do you guys think about it?
Is it her accent?
So here's the thing. When you're from New York.
She's from New York.
She's from Queens. So it's like,
what are we talking about?
Like who you growing up.
True, she is from Queens.
And see, that's the thing that maybe you guys understand as like Canadians, but like black people that are from Canada, because like you guys have an accent from your part of Canada.
Yeah, I understand.
Like y'all sound like you're from Quebec.
Okay.
It's different than when you're from Toronto. And the Toronto accent just popped up like a year ago. Like these motherfuckers sound like they were from New York 5 years ago, and now all of a sudden, ting, ting, ting,
yeah,
right? It's like everything is ting, ting, right? Like,
hey. But you see, already that's where I gotta push back, because it's like, okay, you're saying that this new Toronto accent just popped up a year ago, and you can attribute that to Drake, and you could attribute that to Drake appropriating Caribbean culture, putting it in his music, and then now the people that are from Toronto that support Drake now have this vernacular, and it's very recent. This isn't a Toronto accent. That's not what an accent is. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yo, they use a waste man. It's like, and I get it.
I'm a defend Toronto for they've been saying that.
They've been saying that, but now it's mainstream.
No,
but they've been on that thing.
Because I hate Toronto, so keep going.
No, I love Toronto. I love Toronto, but it feels like they're adopting an identity. Like if you listen to Tory Lanez talk, he talks he's from New York.
What do you say, my guy?
Every once in a while you see that shit. So, but I think that
I also blame the internet for a lot of the mismatching and like the traveling of like culture and accents and slang and all that stuff. Like the internet allows that stuff to just flow freely out into the world, whereas before it was like you literally had to go somewhere to like hear someone with like that accent, or that person had to go to like your hometown. You're like, oh, you're from Boston? Oh, I'm from New York. Like, oh, you're from LA? Oh, you have a Valley Girl accent. Oh, you from Texas? Oh, you have that Southern drawl. Like, it's like it's different things.
they're adopting identity that are from the influential cultures that are in the city, right? Sure. And that's what we all do, right? So if you grow up in New York, yes, you're going to code switch. I'm going to speak one way around my parents and one way around my friends. And I think that we all do that. The crazy thing about her and why I always defend her is it's like, what accent you want her to have, yo? She got to have an Asian accent? Is that what you want? Or she got to talk white? What you're basically saying is, hey, you got to talk white. And the reality is she grew up in Queens, maybe grew up with more black folk than she did white folk, and that's going to be the people that influence her accent the most,
100%,
right?
100%.
Okay, but that's not fair. You know what I'm saying? That is just not fair, and I'll show you guys why that idea simply is unfair as a concept. New York accent. this super normal, chillin' New York accent. Nothing too crazy.
My dad. People assume my dad has an accent, and he does. He sounds like Donald Trump because they're both old guys from Queens.
Where is Awkwafina from? Like, where did she grow up? Because first of all, Stony Brook is not in Queens. Stony Brook is in Long Island. So, like, if we're gonna give her Queens, let's just give her Queens. Let's go to Wikipedia. By the way, she is from my alma mater, UAlbany. She did go to the same school I went to, graduated a few years before me. Okay, so she grew up in Forest Hills, Queens, right? So let's look into the demographics of Forest Hills, Queens real quick. You know what I'm saying? All right. Forest Hills, Queens is 58% white. So white is actually the dominant culture where she grew up, right? And then you got a demographic of 2.5% black. Not even 3% black. So how is her blaccent, her New York blaccent, even comparable that the African American culture was the dominant culture? Sure. And then you got Native American, and then you have 24% Asian population. I'm also from Queens. I know this. Queens is one of the most diverse places on earth, but where she grew up, where she went to school, where she was living, black people were not there. Okay? So she was getting this from hip-hop television. She was not living with black people. So sure, okay, let's go and say, okay, she went to LaGuardia High School, right? Let's see. All right. So we got U.S. News, LaGuardia High School, demographic, and it's very clear what we're looking at. It's a little bit over half of the population is minorities. But when you break it down, it is 45% white, very close to what we saw before in her neighborhood. Then it is, after white, it's Asian at 20%, just like we saw in her neighborhood. Then it's Hispanic at 17%, very close to what we saw in her neighborhood. Then it's 10% black. So twice as many black people that were in her neighborhood, but we're talking about 10%. We're talking about 1 in 10 students. By far not the dominant culture, okay? And then you have the mixed people, and then you have American Indian, Alaska Natives, and Native Hawaiian Pacific Islanders, who on Earth, they're already a small population, so it's expected that they wouldn't have a huge population. But you guys get my point. Like, the whole idea that, oh, she grew up around all this, like, you know, black culture, so it makes sense that she's in black culture. It's like she has a black accent, she has a New York accent. It's like, no, a black accent is not a New York accent. Andrew, you are also from New York. You literally do not sound like that. And people are, you know, what people tend to do, especially people like Andrew in this situation, is that they try to make it seem like this is just like, it's just a thing. Like, this is just how people talk sometimes. It's super normal. But you were also from New York, and when you hear this woman speak, it doesn't sound like that at all. It definitely sounds like a black accent. But, you know, let's keep it pushing.
She grew up in Queens.
Bruh, I know.
She's around.
I tell her this all the time. I'm like, yo, that's yours. Yeah, You're a product of this.
Admin Preach don't have a choice in this because they didn't grow up in Queens, so they don't understand that that's just not how it is.
City. Don't let anybody tell you how you can or can't talk. Now, here's the thing. I do understand the frustration, and we were talking to our boy Derek Poston, who opens up on the road for us, and he was bringing up this point. I understand the frustration of black people where he's like, yo, if I, quote unquote, black scent it up, I'm scary or dangerous to people. When other cultures lean in, it's endearing or funny. It's funny that this Asian girl has a blacker quote unquote, but we would call this a New York accent, but if you're not from New York, it's a black accent. Like that is all of a sudden comical.
No,
right?
it's a black accent.
So it's like, I understand that frustration. If you're black, you're going, yo, why when I do this shit, it's fucked up and dangerous. And when this Asian girl does it, it's hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's just, comedy's weird.
Because it's cultural appropriation, and that's why it's a problem. Because if one person speaks like this and that is normal for them, and people judge them for it, and then another group of people copy that style of speaking, and then they are praised for it, that is the issue. It's the fact that she gets to use this blaccent that she picked up on TV or whatever it is, and now she's on TV using it, and she's getting paid to do so. That's the problem.
Like that.
Yeah.
It's not precise, but besides that, yeah, she's from Queens. It's like that. People, it's not Asian people that speak like that. It's people from Queens that speak like that.
Yeah.
No,
I mean,
That's how I feel.
didn't Will Vicky get the same
we don't speak
treatment?
like that. I don't
Well,
even
Nikki.
speak like that.
Whoa, Vicky.
No.
Well, Vicky? Well,
Yeah.
Nikki?
Yeah.
Whatever.
But where's she from?
I'm
Well,
pretty
I
sure
have
she's
no
from
idea.
like Houston or some shit, but that's her accent, right? From what I know. So my thing is this.
That
I
might
think
be. That might be a little cat.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm pretty sure that's her accent. But the main thing I was gonna say is I think it just comes down to the context. I understand the struggle.
That's the thing. You can't know because we have people on the internet and on television that are just using accents and no one knows where they're actually from or what the culture they're actually in. So when you have someone like a Whoa Vicky, you have no clue anymore. You just don't have any clue. She sounds so black and she is so white that we just have no idea. We're like, wait, there's no way she's just pretending. That's the problem now.
I understand where the hurt comes from, whether it be with the braids and the box braids and everyone switching up the names of the hairstyles because a white girl put it on. I get that.
Yeah.
But we can't throw away context because you feel that outrage. You got to understand, like, there's an individual on the other side of that you don't know, that you are crediting to a group think or a group idea, which is the same issue that you have being dealt to you. You get what I'm saying? You're being marginalized. You're being pigeonholed when you speak a certain way.
And now you're making these
And you're
people-
pigeonholing someone else, removing their identity, their
yeah.
individualism, right? Or the place that they grew up in or all that, and just putting them in the people who are like appropriating your culture. No, that's her.
Except that's not what's happening at all because it's not her culture. It would be one thing if she grew up in Jamaica, Queens, where the population is majority black. In that case, we can give it to her and say, okay, we get it. You grew up around all black people. You went to a Jamaica, Queens high school. You did all types of, black shit. Like you lived in a building full of black people. Like you lived in a project or something. In that scenario, sure, we can give it to you. But in a scenario where you grew up around majority white people, you are Asian, the second biggest population you grew up with is Asian, the lowest amount of people you grew up with were black, then it's very hard to make it make sense.
Culture.
Yeah.
Right? So you can't just meet with that. And again, that comes back to the Rogan thing earlier where it's like people don't want to take the time to go beyond the 2-minute clip that they saw or anything like that to do a simple Google search to learn about folks. They don't have the energy.
Yeah.
They just saw
You're not about to
her,
compare this to
they
Rogan.
heard her speak, and they went, she's part of that group.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the solution is not punishing someone for being a part of it.
No, it's not that we heard her speak in a black accent and we're like, okay, we're punishing her. No, the problem is that we heard her speak normally. That we heard her speak like a normal person. Let's go to the interview that she had with Jimmy Kimmel.
Yes.
You chose this name.
It was my chosen name, yes.
You had to come up with like a hip hop name, right?
Yeah, I mean, well, it came pretty naturally when I was like 15, 16, I was looking for, a pretty stupid name.
How did it come naturally? Were you at
hip
the
hop name is a
convenience
stupid
store or
name.
something?
Okay, got you.
I think I wanted something, at that point, I never thought that people would actually call me Aquafina.
I see.
I just thought, and it would make me and my other friend who at that time was my branding manager and at 16, and we would kind of, we would giggle together.
Were there other options? Did you go through other choices?
So the question here is it just me or is there just no black accent? There's just no real New York accent either. She's just speaking like a normal person. I won't even go as far as saying she speaks white because I don't even believe that. But she's just speaking normally, right? But then you have situations like this one.
I'm straight, I'm right. It's fake land, I'm always right.
What are we talking about?
Okay,
I got it.
Trashy, unrefined banana. Yellow on the outside, a white on the inside.
I know what a banana is.
When in reality, you're like a super sophisticated, smart professor of freaking game theory. Show her that side of you, you know?
Yeah, she's like trying to play a game of chicken with me. Where she's like coming at me and like thinking I'm gonna swerve like a chicken.
But you can't swerve.
I'm not gonna swerve, not for her.
No, chickens are bitches, dude.
And I'm not a chicken.
You're not a chicken. You gonna roll up to that way and you gonna be like, bok, bok, bitch.
Bok, bok, bitch.
Chickens are bitches. Sorry, Uncle.
Where did that come from?
You have
Not punishing someone for like, you know, being a part of it. It should be trying to create a more accepting society that doesn't feel uncomfortable when black people talk black.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Agreed.
it's the same thing with like cornrows. Like when a black woman wears cornrows in the workplace, it's unprofessional. She can't wear hair like that. When David Beckham does it, wow, look how cool this guy is.
Yeah.
I don't think we should punish David Beckham for wearing cornrows.
No,
I think
but-
we should accept black women when they
Yes.
wear cornrows.
And I understand black people's frustration with that.
But it's easier to punish one person than to try to make a whole society change.
That's true.
Yeah, exactly.
That's true. So you're
So-
taking out that frustration on that one person. They become the figurehead for your frustration.
I'm gonna make you feel how society made me
Made
feel.
me feel, yeah.
Yes.
I don't know how it was.
And that's a human interaction. Sorry to cut you. That's
No,
like
go
that's
ahead.
just like this neat.
But it's not that simple. It's not as simple as, oh, I'm going to make you feel bad because society makes me feel bad. No, I need you to stop doing this because when you do it, you get paid for it. And when I do it, I don't get a job. Like, that's the difference. Like, that's the complete difference. You're creating even more separation by you appropriating my culture. Like, that's the issue.
Knee-jerk thing that we do, and we can not be proud of our behavior. We can do fucked up things and recognize it, but I do understand the impulse to be critical. You're just like, yo, what the fuck? Yeah. I've been doing this shit and it's a problem. They do it and it's celebrated. But I like what you guys are saying. At least that you have the context to go like, that's where she's from. That's how the fuck she talks.
Yeah.
Because if she spoke in an Asian accent, nobody would be upset about it, even though it wouldn't be natural for her. Right? Nobody would say a single fucking thing.
Yeah.
Because she's conforming to
No.
our idea of what it should be rather than
Yeah.
what she
100%.
No one would say anything because she is Asian. In the same way that no one would say anything if a black person from the suburbs was talking like in a ghetto accent. People from the black ghetto would say, hey, you're not even like that, bro. But at the end of the day, you are still black. So your ability to make money off of your culture, which is still your culture, is completely valid. It's not the same thing as going into someone else's culture and taking from them to enrich yourself. It's not the same thing. It's just not.
That's fucked up.
That is fucked up.
That is fucked up. No, you should speak like that. I don't want to be that guy, but I'm like, aren't you going to doing the same thing?
Yeah.
How about this? A black person grows up in the suburbs, doesn't speak like they're from the hood.
Okay,
they get on
bro.
television, speak the same way. Everyone starts looking at them funny.
Every
Why are
time-
you trying to be white? No, it's the environment.
Bro,
the
that's
motherfuckers
where
are
they
in. It would
grew
be
up.
weird
Okay.
if I hear some guy who grew up in a gated community, like it's like when I hear these rappers who grew up in gated communities talk about, oh, we shooting through keypads and all this stuff. Like, nigga, you live behind a gate. Like, why you talk about thug life? That's not you. That's inauthentic.
Yes.
That's the issue. But you being true to yourself and talking about stuff that's real for you, now you're being white. So it's like,
But I get this I get that all the time because in French, I don't know how Aquafina.
Yeah, I mean, black people get judged for everything. Like, if you are more proper, you get judged by black people. If you're not as cultured, you get judged by white people. It's like there's a lot of judgment going all around for black people. But at the end of the day, black people tend to face more consequence and get less income based on who they are, even if they're not even changing who they are, even if it's true to them. Like, I've seen the rappers that he's talking about that grew up in great lifestyles, Lil Tecca, for example, who they portray this gangsta image, but at the end of the day, you look at him and you know for sure he is not about that life. You already know, so we understand that we're playing the game with him versus him. We have no clue what Vicky is doing. Like, we have no clue what's going on there. We have no idea what environment she grew up in, if this is really her. Like, we don't know. Like, that's completely different, at least in my opinion.
All are.
Yeah.
And highly intelligent social individual is going to have these different codes that they can speak with, right?
Yeah.
If you're speaking one specific way, you go talk to your priest, you're going to do the exact same thing as you talk to your friends.
Yeah.
No, you're going to
proper, quote unquote. I will get beat.
Yeah.
So I code switch all the time. Like that's what I do. It's not because you have different accent. It's also part of who I am.
Yep.
It's part of who we all are.
Yeah.
And highly intelligent social individual is going to have these different codes that they can speak with, right? If you're speaking one specific way, you go talk to your priest, you're going to do the exact same thing as you talk to your friends. No, you're going to change certain words and you're going to change certain tones, all that kind of stuff.
But your mom is from
My mom's from Scotland. When she's with her family, that Scottish accent pops out.
And your
My dad's a New Yorker.
It don't pop out.
Okay, and I totally agree with Andrew here that, like, yes, everyone has, like, their code switching and all this stuff and talking to different people. You don't talk to your friends the same way you would talk to your mom or a priest and whatnot. But the fundamental difference is that as an entertainer, right, she is doing different spaces of entertainment. So, for example, when she went on the SNL or she went on Jimmy Kimmel, both appearances, I believe, are unpaid. She spoke it regularly. But for whatever reason, when she's on camera, she all of a sudden has this black stereotype, which is her acting. When she's acting, somehow she's acting black. But when she's just being herself, somehow she's just speaking herself. What Andrews is describing is us walking through our regular daily lives in different spaces and changing our codes based on those different spaces, which is in a way a little bit inauthentic in a lot of cases, but we understand that it's just more about like not using certain words or not like saying certain things. But at the end of the day, we're not talking about everybody being an actor and getting paid to behave a certain way. That's completely different. And why can't we get that? Why can't we get to a point where we understand that there is a pay gap in the situation, that we're talking about monetary compensation for behavior? Like, why are we just avoiding this whole thing, trying to make it seem like, oh, everyone's the same, everyone does this, everyone code switches, you don't talk to your teacher the way you talk to your best friend. Like, we know this. we know this. But why is it that the way she speaks on SNL isn't the way she speaks in Ocean's 8? Okay? Why does she get paid to behave in this New York way, right? Whatever that means. But it's very not New York. We've seen a bunch of movies in New York. Regular people just don't act like that. Like, it's a over ghettoification of the Black New York experience. It's just what she does. Like, that's what she gets paid for. It is what it is.
She's just being
yeah, she's a
fucking
fake
fraud.
Dude, with her Scott
loser.
Yeah.
You're not New York. You're not 50%. You're 100. And
Yeah.
that's all you are. Like I can also be all that and all that. She can be Asian, wherever the hell she's from, and also from Queens, and be part of that. And that makes who she is. But the thing is, people want a clear distinction of what you're like that, you're that.
Yeah.
I see Asian.
Satisfy my feelings.
Yes.
You should satisfy my feeling. Yeah, it's selfish.
And I don't understand how then it's fake. It's not like that. It's not exactly like that, but whatever.
But yeah, thank you guys for watching. That's all I have for you. Like, it's just a very, very, like, simple discussion in my opinion, but I feel like people are making complicated. Like, somehow we haven't got to the bottom of all this. She tried apologizing, but according to everyone on Twitter, it was a very much a non-apology. I'm not on Twitter, so like I just heard about it. Maybe I'll try to find her tweet in which she apologized. But at the end of the day, it was a non-apology, and she basically said, well, this is just what I do, whatever. And yeah, like, I feel like it's just one of those things where Black people just have to try to safeguard certain things that are cultural, like, and not just seem like we're just complaining for no reason. We need to have a full frame of reference and break down what the actual issue is, which is not about her acting black. No one actually cares that she acts black. The problem is that she gets paid to act black. Like, that is the actual overall issue. We see the wiggers all over the world. Like, we don't care about that. It's when you get paid to do it. You know what I'm saying? One thing I can say is that Eminem has never portrayed himself as a black man. He's always portrayed himself as a white man that has been in hip hop. That's it. And we accepted him for that. We accepted his lyrical ability. We accepted his respect for hip hop as a culture and a black culture first. Do you understand? Like, that's the complete difference. But again, thank you guys for watching. It's Bianca Woke Up Late, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.